What's good, YouTube? Back again with another video. Today, we're going to be talking about the insane amount of student loan that people take out for various college degrees. Let's get into it.
On my med school debt, to be honest, I was depressed for a couple of days. Like, it was right after when I was graduating medical school, and we were doing like our exit council, and I just saw it all together, and I was like, why does the zeros keep going? It was just too much. But it's a combination of undergrad, master's degree, and medical school. And a lot of people have med school debt, to be honest. There's actually only one person in my medical school class who did not have any debt.
So, between her undergraduate, master's level, and for her medical school, she has over $750,000, three-fourths of $1 million. And that's not including any type of interest that's generating on that loan every day. I mean, I understand, the doctor, you definitely have the ability to be a high earner, but I mean, this is going to significantly hurt her for quite some time. Like, she's literally going to have to live like a college student for at least a good 5 to 7 years to knock down a significant amount of that debt. I mean, and hopefully, like I said, um, pursuing some type of higher end specialty where she can make 4 or 5 hundred thousand. But usually with those type of specialties, the residency is a lot longer. So man, she's not in a good position.
And yeah, very jealous of him. More power to you, honey. One of the primary reasons why medical school debt is so high is because you are taking out loans to pay for your tuition, but you're also taking out loans to pay for room and board. Like, you're not working as a medical student because you can't, but you have to survive. And the only way for you to survive, especially if you like live in another state and you're not able to live with family and they can't take care of you, is to take out loans to survive. So a lot of people take out loans to survive. There are some people who like work in between like going to medical school, like right after they graduate college, and save up some money to. Not everybody do that. I didn't do that. So yeah, my loans are a lot. And of course, I know I have to pay them back. Like, why would I not? So every time I talk about Joe paying them back for me, I know it's a joke.
Yeah, she may want to consider working in. I know they have certain programs for healthcare providers. If you work in an underserved area for maybe 7 to 10 years or so, the rest of your loans are forgiven. Like I said, with that amount of debt and the interest that's going to be building daily, she is going to be it's going to be an uphill battle. Because I mean, you think about with a doctor, you make so much sacrifice usually in your 20s and early 30s. I mean, by the time you're finished, you're going to want to start a family. You're going to want to buy a house. Treat yourself to something nice for all those. I mean, decades of studying. But like I said, with that $750,000 anchor, whew, it's going to be rough.
It's a joke.
You don't know, today the Supreme Court knocked down the Biden administration's plan to pay off student loans. So I was checking into this. Check out this tweet.
Yeah, Biden let down a lot of people. A lot of people were making on that student loan forgiveness, that that was one of his big campaign promises that he ran on. And a lot of people got left holding the bag. Which, I kind of when you kind of think about it, I mean, it's not really fair. I mean, because what about all the people who did, take out student loans and actually paid them all off? It's kind of not fair to those people to have everybody else's loans forgiven when they took the loan out and they were responsible and made the sacrifice and paid it off. But here we have a graduate from law school with $180,000 in law school debt. They said they've been paying the loans for 11 years and even paid two of them off completely. But in 2023, their balance is $206,000. Um, I'm pretty sure that bulk of those loans are probably private, and the interest rate is eating them alive.
By Alessandra Biaggi. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her name. In 2012, I graduated from blah blah law school with 180,000 in student loans. Currently, I've been paying them back for 11 years, paid 2 of them off completely, and in 2023, my balance is 206,000. She actually ended up with more in loans than she started with because of compounding interest. I thought this was an interesting, kind of a sad story, but then I saw this. I dug a little deeper using some Twitter sources and actually found this New York Post article about Alessandra Biaggi. The same woman relocates to a new district in $1 million home. She bought a house for $1.2 million with her husband, who's an entrepreneur, and is claiming that the system is rigged against people who have student loans. She wants you to pay back her student loans, and I have mixed feelings on the student loan repayment. I think it'd be great, but there's some downsides to it. But just look at this. Just think about this. $1 million house and couldn't pay off her student loans.
Well, her situation, she's actually kind of blessed. Her husband's an entrepreneur, so that's how they're probably able to. She was probably able to afford that $1 million home, and like I said, I guess she's trying to bank. She was banking on Joe to come through with the student loan forgiveness. But I mean, ultimately, her and her husband are going to be responsible for paying that student loan back, those student loan debts back. So they better develop a plan.
A little more about how you were paying for school. Yes. So it's funny you actually say this comment because my first student loan payment is in a month, rip. But I was able to get a job that counted under PSLF, which
Okay, just to give a little background here, she looks like she's in 200,000, says 200K plus student loan debt for a PA. She is so she went to school to be a physician assistant. 200 plus thousand for a physician assistant. I mean, physician assistants, they make decent money. I think they start, maybe 80, 90 grand. And depending upon like what kind of specialty you go into, have the ability to make up to, 150, 160, somewhere in that range. 200K, like I said, the killer with that, when you start talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, is that compounding interest. So she's going to have to get on these loans ASAP. Like I said, if she's, willing to sacrifice for 5 to 7 years, she could probably knock off a good majority of these loans. But let's get into it.
which is public service loan forgiveness. So basically, that's you work for a non-for-profit for 10 years, and then they will pay the rest of your loans after that. So basically, the goal is to pay the minimum amount for 10 years, and then the rest of it will be forgiven. So I was doing that with the SAVE plan, but then the SAVE plan just got canceled, so I have to figure out which next plan that I'm going to add on. But that's how I'm paying. When I was in school, I lived solely off of loans. I had my boyfriend and he had a job, but it wasn't enough to like.
Another common theme I'm hearing here is a lot of people really didn't have a lot of family support. Like I said, they didn't have somewhere where they could maybe, or maybe they went to school out of state. They didn't have somewhere where they could live with a relative, and try to cut down some of them student loans. So literally, they had to take out a loan for everything. Literally, food for daily, transportation, housing costs, and that really adds up. Like I said, when you're trying to do certain type of going into certain type of careers, especially something like a doctor, or you're doing anything with like advanced schooling where you need some type of master's degree or doctorate degree, not having that family support, man, really really hurts, because like I said, you wind up having to take a loan out for literally everything. 'Cause like I said, with a lot of these specialties you're going into, you're not going to be able to work as well as go to school.
Sustain both of us or anything. So the majority of living was off of loans. And then I did want to mention, I know you're talking about like can't even afford to apply to schools because it's very expensive, and I was in your boat too. I do remember CASPA had like I can't remember what it was, but it took some money off. Like I would just look up like CASPA funds, something like that. CASPA aid, that's what it was. So that helped with a little bit of the application process. It's still really a very expensive journey all in all, but I'm hoping this helps. And my best advice, especially if you're over 200K, which I was, definitely look at non-for-profits and into the public service loan forgiveness, because I feel like if you're in the like 150 mark, you might be able to pay it off, but once it starts approaching like 220, you're just like chasing interest at that point. So
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, once you start talking hundreds of thousands of dollars, you got to think about it. People take out hundreds of thousands of dollars for a house, and they take out a 30-year mortgage, and then most never even pay that off. Like I said, it sounds like she has a plan. She's going to try to go into the um, try to get her loans forgiven. Working in the underserved community. That's probably going to be her best bet, like I said, because that compound interest is something nasty.
I'm not sure how relatable this is going to be for my viewer demographic, but I need to talk about the debt that I'm swimming and drowning in and the anxiety that I have every day. Horrible anxiety because of it. Now, me personally, I am I'd say about $200,000 in debt total, with all my student loans and credit card debt and just other debt. So, and I know I chose to go to NYU. I don't regret it at all. I loved living in New York City. I loved NYU, and we all knew I was crying about it like 2 years ago when I was.
Yeah, I bet you did love living in New York. I mean, now it's time to pay the cost. Now it's time to pay the cost to be the boss.
Like, oh my God, I'm going to be in debt after I graduate. But now that we have to pay it back, I'm extremely alarmed and really scared and terrified. And obviously living in New York is really, really expensive. So I have a lot of credit cards that I'm pretty much maxed out on. So don't really have any credit that I can use, and my credit score sucks because of that and because of my loans. So that's really cool. Also, I just took literally the first job I was offered after I graduated because I didn't have a job, and debt, credit cards, medical.
I wonder, she said she went to NYU. I wonder what she majored in. I wonder, will she mention it? Because like I said, that also plays a big role in your ability to pay back these loans, especially like I said, she's talking about over 200K with student loans and personal debt.
Medical bills, and they're paying me literally the bare minimum. But I wanted to move back to New York City as soon as possible because I wanted to, what 24-year-old doesn't want to go back to living on their own? I don't want to live with my parents, no offense. So I'm going to do that because I love New York City. So I know what you're thinking. Wow, you're really crazy because you're in that much debt and you're going to go move to the most expensive city in the world.
Yeah, she's not thinking logically about this at all. Like I said, she's operating clearly off of emotions. Like I said, to have that much in debt, especially if she has the option to live at home with her parents, so she could try to aggressively attack that debt, would be her best option. To, like I said, to move back to New York City, one of the most expensive places in the United States, is absolutely makes no sense whatsoever.
World, yes, I am. With that being said, more than half of my monthly income will be going towards my rent. So I have to get a second job to work in order to live in New York City. And still with that second job, I'm going to be struggling to pay my bills. And then...
Okay, so let's pause this here. So not only is she going to move back to New York, just her rent is going to be over 50% of her income. This doesn't include loans, this doesn't include, food, any type of other basic needs she may have. She's going to have to get a second job just to barely keep her head above water. And she thinks that this is a good idea. See, this is sometimes how it's hard to you can't really feel bad for certain people that are in these situations, because it's like their poor decision making is ultimately what got them here. Even though she has over 200K in student loans, medical, personal, she's still not even making good decisions. She's literally going to waste money on New York rent that could be going towards paying down her student loans and her personal debt. But instead of doing that, she's going to move to New York and waste all this money in rent when she could be living at home with her parents.
How am I gonna have fun? Going out to dinner one night cost me $100. And don't even get me started on the medical bills, because I keep getting these notices that I have to pay $20 for an appointment I went to 2 years ago. And then they're like, we're going to send you to collections. So that is fun. I also have a dentist appointment next week, and they're going to literally be like, you have 8 cavities. So looking forward to that bill as well. But yeah, like I really just want to cry and scream and throw up all day, every day. And I don't know if anyone can relate, but I'm going to be in debt for the rest of my life. So might as well live it up in New York City.
Yeah, she's regressed to like a fantasy land. Like I said, she's just said, "Hey, screw it. I'm already, I'm already, I'm already down bad. So I mean, I'm going to do what I want to do." Like I said, I don't. I think she's going to ultimately wind up regretting this decision because I said that um, those loans are not going to go anywhere. So I mean, her best bet would be come up with a plan to try to attack it. I don't know. Like I know it's very hard nowadays to try to discharge um, your loans through bankruptcy, but I mean, that may be something she needs to look into. And also, she needs to be more responsible, honestly. Like I said, moving to New York when you could be staying home with your parents and trying to get your finances in order would be the adult decision to make. But like I said, she seems very nonchalant about this whole situation. So, yeah.
$1 million.
You're kidding me.
And no, sir.
What were you thinking?
And, well, I wasn't thinking clearly. So I've sat down and calculated my interest rates, and my interest is about $5,800 a month.
Woo! $6,000 a month in interest. I don't know what he went to school for. Hopefully, he went to school to be a brain surgeon, some type of neurosurgeon, some type of orthopedics, and he has the ability to make maybe $400,000 or $500,000 a year. If not, he is absolutely screwed. I don't even know how you could possibly have $1 million in student loans. That's insane.
So my fiance and we're trying to decide what's the best way to try to attack this.
When are you getting married?
April.
Okay. And what will you be making as an orthodontist?
About $250.
Okay. And what?
Okay, so he went to school for dentistry, orthodontist. Dental school is, I didn't even know this until recently, but actually dental school is actually more expensive than medical school. I think it has to do with something where there's not as many dental schools compared to med schools, I believe. But to be $1 million in debt to be an orthodontist, I mean, $250, that's definitely good money. Nothing to, like I said, it's good money, but not when you got $1 million in loans and 6,000 a month just in interest. Like I said, hopefully this wedding is like a courthouse, some type of shotgun style wedding, backyard, because they're going to have to pretty much focus all their resources on trying to knock out these loans. Or maybe, like I said, I don't know if they have student loan forgiveness for dentists, for orthodontists, but yeah, he's got to figure something out because just $72,000 a year alone in just interest is insane.
What does she do and what will she be making?
We actually just opened up an office, and she works in the office, so she's not taking any income out of the office.
Okay. This is such an extreme situation. Your income is extreme and your debt is extreme, that you have to be very, very careful to just act like you're a broke college student because you are a broke orthodontist.
Right.
And so that means you guys aren't going on vacations. You're not buying a house. You're not leasing a new BMW. You're not going to a restaurant. You have $1 million. I can't even say it out loud. I can't breathe. $1 million in student loan debt. It gives me an anxiety attack, and it's not even my debt. But the horrible news is that ridiculous figure. The wonderful news is you have great income potential and a great income right now. So you cannot relax.
Right. So
You have to cut as deeply as you can cut.
Right.
And so be dialing your taxes in. I don't want you to get behind on taxes, but other than taxes and food and water and electricity, I really want everything else just going on student loan debt. The good news is you've got a great shovel and you have a great bright future with your income potential. And, you know, that gets you out of this. It's not a reason to get into it, but it does get you out of it. It gives you hope for your future.
Yeah, that's solid advice. He gave that man solid advice. Like I said, he does have great income. But like I said, he's literally going to have to live like he's essentially almost homeless for like the next 10 years to even make a dent in this debt.
Student loan debt? Yes, I'd say maybe 15,000. Do you have student loan debt?
Yeah.
Can I ask you how much student loan debt you have?
5-ish K that I would have to pay off soon. Like, it's not that bad yet because it's only first semester.
How much would you say you'll have towards the end of school?
Like,
Oh, I thought she was saying 5,000 as in total.
yeah, probably 50K.
Do you have student loan debt?
Yes.
How much student loan debt do you have?
Honestly, I would say I'm like pretty privileged in comparison to a lot of other people. Like I have under 10,000, but I have friends that have 40,000, so I can't complain.
Do you have student loan debt?
Oh God, I don't even know. I'm probably gonna take out like so much money.
How much do you think you would have to take out?
For another like 3 years, I guess I'm gonna take out like 60.
See, the problem with these student loans, it's all good when you're in school and you know you're just taking out the money and they're paying for school. I don't think it really hits a lot of people until they get out in the real world and they have to actually start repaying this stuff back, and they realize they're up shit's creek without a paddle.
Afternoon. What can I do for you?
I need to buy a gun.
Okay, hold on. Let's see what this says. We estimate you will pay $812 to $1,451 per month until June 2048. When you get your student loans back. So that's the estimated monthly payment. Total to be paid back is $326,850. And that won't be paid off till 2048. Wow. That's some nasty work. Like I said, it doesn't say what this person went to school for, but hopefully, like I said, it's something with the ability to make several hundred thousand, because they're really going to need to double, if not triple up on this payment.
$40,000 in student debt, and I'm not stressed about it. So let's talk about it. And I'll show you my favorite everyday makeup look. The first thing is from Merit. I'm absolutely obsessed with this. I have 2 sets of student loans. So I have the federal loans that most people have, and then I also have private loans. So lucky me. This is the Milk Contour Stick. I really like this because I'm trying to do clean beauty. When I said I wasn't stressed, that was kind of a lie. I just think it's so crazy how we are signing kids up who are 18 years old with $140,000 of student debt before they really realize like how much money that is and how much it's gonna take to pay that off. I went to a private school in Connecticut, and I did that because
Red flag number 1 right there. Private school, unless you have some type of rich parents that are going to be backing you, much better off going to a community college or a state school.
I was in a 3+1 program, so I basically got 2 degrees for the price of 1 degree. I still got to finish at the same time as all of my friends who were just getting their bachelors. At the time, I thought going to the private school because of the program was a really good option for me financially. But I definitely didn't realize how much $140,000 really is, or else I probably wouldn't have done it. But I've been paying off my loans since I was a freshman, yes, a freshman in college. So I kind of want to tell you what my plan is, how I'm doing it, and how I'm trying to get rid of these as quickly as possible.
I am 24 and I didn't move out of my childhood home until I was 24. I stayed home for 2 years after school and basically was able to put all the money I was making towards my student debt, and honestly, I didn't save, which I definitely don't recommend. Definitely put some savings aside. I kind of learned that the hard way. When I moved out, I kind of realized just how hard it is to pay rent and get your own groceries and basically be an adult and have this looming student debt over your head. It's really hard, honestly, to look at my friends who are getting married and buying houses and just knowing that.
Sounds like she should have still stayed at home with her parents. She doesn't mention if that was an option or not. And like I said, continue to try to attack these student loans. Again, like I said, when you start talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, that interest, that compound interest is what's really going to eat you up.
I'm extremely responsible and I'm not going to be able to do that. I can't do that, and it's not going to happen for quite a while. Essentially, what I do every single month is I put one paycheck towards my student debt, and then I do one paycheck towards my rent, utilities, groceries, and I kind of try to save just whatever little is left that I can. I know it's really hard for some people to put a full paycheck towards their student debt, but I would really recommend it if you can. I honestly just have it taken out right away.
Just a suggestion here, might be a good idea for her to cut back on the makeup. Seems like she's heavily invested in the beauty care industry. I mean, she might want to be taking that extra there and throwing it on her student loans.
And it's like it never even hit my bank account. So I'm definitely pressed for money, unlike my other friends, but I'm really learning like how to be responsible with money, which, you know, I wish I learned when I was 18. For anyone who is starting their payments now for the federal loans, I really recommend putting more than what's due towards it so you can pay down the principal, because that's the thing that's going to get you, because you're just going to be paying interest over time when you could have brought that down a lot earlier. Don't get me wrong, it's really, really hard to have to say no to things, and I definitely feel a lot of anxiety over it that not a lot of my friends, well, actually none of my friends understand. This Merit blush is quite literally my favorite blush ever. I have the Rare.
Yeah, it might be time to retire the mirror blush and the lip gloss, and like I said, throw that extra on your student loans.
All that work, and what did it get me? Why did I do it?
Yeah, $50,000 for a psychology degree is diabolical. Especially like I said, with a bachelor's in psychology, it's going to be tough to get a good job, because like I said, with that type of degree, you definitely need a master's, if not a doctorate, to make any real money, and it's still going to be tough even then.
PhD for the next 2.5 years.
So unfortunately, I did take out a student loan on top of what I already owe. So at the end of
if you file bankruptcy, you're not doing that. How are you paying for How are you paying for your PhD?
We've got to be more there, and then we're going to be more there.
But if you file bankruptcy, you're not getting a student loan. All right, I'm trying to figure out where to start.
Yeah, John, you right now, my friend, do you feel the weight of this right now?
I do.
Do you really? Because you said you just recently found us. And so what you're hearing is the wheels turning as we're processing, because you've been sold a fake dream if you think bankruptcy is going to fix it. Okay? Because it costs money, and you've already had this attorney on retainer, and they're telling you we're going to wait for the election to find out if, listen to me, student loans are not bankruptable. Okay, those aren't going anywhere.
Yes, sir.
And so I want you to start to look at this and feel it, and not look for the quick fix, but look for the fix.
Yes, sir.
Here's the problem.
That's certainly why I'm trying to find other resources, because that made me so skeptical when she said that.
Yeah, I agree.
She was trying to push.
think
She was
that's
trying to push this.
Yeah, there's that lawyer that he has on retainer is he needs to fire her immediately. She's just trying to milk him dry. I believe this guy is a respiratory therapist. Has $300,000 in debt for RT, which is absolutely insane. Like I said, $300K, that's like doctor level debt, and respiratory therapists make nowhere near what doctors make. So, yeah, this fantasy that he's going to be able to discharge these loans in bankruptcy, it's fairy tale.
Back, and so that's why I wanted to find other resources out there, and I found you guys.
That's more of a, I appreciate this. So I've got to figure out a way to get you guys, to get your income moving sooner than 2.5 years from now. And that's what my holdup here is, because I'm not trying to, the thing is, the debt is always not the problem. It's always the symptom of what's going on. And including when I lost everything and went bankrupt 30 years ago. So I know how scared you guys are. And this is a huge pileup on you guys. And so you have bet the farm on this PhD turning into serious income.
I did. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, with $300,000 plus continuing to pile it up. So I'm probably going to start talking to healthcare companies now about working there and letting them pay to help you finish as their continuing ed program, pay to help you finish your PhD, and you go ahead and get your career track started now instead of a $38,000 job. You've got a chemistry degree, you've got the intellect to step into this, you've got a lot of the training to step into this, and let's accelerate the PhD completion.
Yeah, he is screwed. But let me know what you think in the comments. Do you have student loans? If so, how much? Let me know in the comments. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.